and welcome to another installment of Schiffbauer Over Rocks. It's a little special today. This is actually the last one coming out here in 2019. We got some bills to pay, and we got a couple lawsuits pending, so psych. We just got a lot going on. We'll take a little hiatus, but we'll be back. But I got a very special guest to cap the year off. Ladies and gentlemen, Joey Klender, friend, colleague, mass media writer of a Tesla affiliate by the name of Tesla Larati. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Did I get everything correctly on the intro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Joey, we're kind of friends through the internet and some mutuals.
That's right. Shout out Kate Myers.
Yeah, shout out to Regina out there. Silk City, great diner.
I actually will be going there tomorrow morning.
It's very good. Get the chicken and waffles, please.
Okay. Yeah, I was planning on doing something along those lines.
But I'm happy to have you on. I see you're bearing gifts today, too.
Yes. I did bring the notorious Conor McGregor's whiskey, Proper 12.
Proper 12.
So we are having a couple glasses of that.
Yes, unofficial sponsor, Schiffbauer Rocks.
That's right.
Season finale.
Always repping the notorious one. So
yeah, it's pretty good too, if we're being honest.
yeah, it's smooth.
It's got
I'm not really a huge whiskey drinker, like I said, but I do enjoy it. It's smooth, easy to drink.
It's a little
Especially
oaky.
Yeah,
I like it.
Especially for somebody that doesn't drink whiskey. It's pretty easy to drink.
I would say that too. I've been drinking whiskey for about 7-8 years.
Yeah, not me.
Oh, actually, no. Since 4. I'm 25.
That's right.
No underage drinking out there, kids.
You didn't have your first glass whiskey till you were 21.
Yeah. Of course,
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Fort Loco.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really good. And I know you're a big Conor guy. So I don't get into that a little bit while we're on the subject.
Yeah, I do love me some Conor McGregor.
Huh?
I'm a big Conor McGregor guy. Even if he's punching old people and throwing steel dollies through bus windows, he's all right.
He's just very emotional and very impactful.
Yeah, I think he's big on loyalty, and I think when somebody fucks with somebody that he's affiliated with, you're gonna feel the wrath a little bit.
I think it might be the Irish in him and maybe some cocaine. I don't know. I'm not going to try to slander him, but I don't know. He's partying a little bit.
He used to be a little more reserved, and then once he got that lightweight belt, got that $100 million in the bank.
It's a little clout,
from the Floyd fight. I'm sure he went and had some fun.
Now, speaking of him and this MMA in general, I know you're big on the sport. How long have you been tuning into it?
The first UFC event I ever watched was UFC 117, Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva.
Okay, that's it. That's way before me.
Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva, when Chael Sonnen whooped his ass for 23 minutes, and then he got triangled in the last 2 minutes of the fight. But that was the first pay-per-view I ever watched. And the first one I ever bought was UFC 129, which was George St. Pierre versus Jake Shields. That was probably 2011 or 2012. So yeah, it's been about 7 or 8 years I've been into the sport. And I don't really miss too many fights. Even the free ones on Fox with the little known.
The free ones are good.
Yes. I think that those are the guys that have the least to lose. If that makes sense.
It does.
The guys on the undercard, they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they come out swinging. So
they're trying to fucking fight.
Yeah, right. It's great.
Now, being an avid fan of the sport for extended period of time, a sport that has kind of rapidly grown since 2009, 2010, 2011.
Big time.
What kind of changes have you seen? You've tuned in way more than me, almost like clockwork, from this, how they're branding themselves as an organization in sport, how, they're promoting their fighters. What has changed in your opinion?
Well, I think a lot of the growth has to do with just the boom of social media. I think, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. You're seeing people get involved because they're hearing about it through other people. But I think that the overall production value of the events and just the promos and the build up to whatever fight it is, I think that's probably helped a lot too. But that kind of stuff has just really become so much more in depth, and there's more of a story to, especially the big pay-per-views. The pay-per-views that sell the most, there's a story behind them. There's a rivalry, there's a hatred, there's whatever. Perfect example is Conor Khabib, John Jones, DC. Those dudes genuinely dislike each other, and there's a story to it. It's not just, hey, these two guys are fighting and they have some animosity. There's background. I mean, the first time John Jones and DC fought, like I got in this huge fight at a press conference and they were both fined like $100,000. And the same thing happened with Conor and Khabib to an extent. I mean, I think that I think they've done a really good job of turning these fights into like long-term rivalries where these guys fight more than once.
Essentially, it's just they're good enough fights.
Yeah,
they're good enough fighters where like a fan base is going to watch it again.
Yes, and even the people that aren't gung-ho fully into the sport and are researching it or paying attention to it every single day, they know like oh, I heard this person's fighting this weekend. I think a really good example is UFC 217, which was George St. Pierre's comeback against Michael Bisping.
That was a big one.
Actually, Kate and I watched that with a group of people at Wild Wings, and it was funny because I think that she's pretty much the only girl I'm friends with that's like more open to watching fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was super cool because Rose Namajunas knocked out Joanna Jędrzejczyk in the first round, which was a huge deal. I mean, Joanna Jędrzejczyk was the strawweight queen, the self-proclaimed strawweight queen. But it was funny because I feel like that, not only because it was a women's fight, but I think that just the humbleness of Rose knocking out this cocky bitch in Joanna Jędrzejczyk, like that really was it was appealing to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think maybe that fight made a fan of Kate a little bit, which is kind of cool. But I think that I just think that like I said, I think it's the story, and they ended up fighting again later, and Rose won again. But it's just a story.
It's building the narrative. Yeah. I mean, with anything, it's kind of like the more you were talking about it, like how you have the build up, and then you have like the announcement, and then you got the weigh-ins,
right?
The press conferences. It's almost like a marketing campaign,
yes,
from start to finish.
Yeah,
like
they are selling a fight, and the more people that buy that fight, the more people that come to it, the more money they're going to make. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you're selling entertainment to people. It's no different than anything else to me, at least. I mean, I think most people just see it as face value. It's two people fighting each other, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And it's almost like you could compare it to NASCAR in a way. NASCAR used to be such a big deal.
Yo,
and now
Middle America loves NASCAR still.
The biggest races of the year, the Daytona 500, the super speedway tracks where dudes are just flooring it for 3 straight hours and they're going 200 plus miles an hour. Those are the only races that get even a decent turnout as far as physically at the track, people in seats. All these, I gotta be honest, I don't know how much longer that sport's gonna last, but it's funny because, I mean, obviously I think the sport was bigger when like Earnhardt Jr. was in it.
Yeah,
Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, bigger brand names, essentially.
Yes.
Personalities.
But it's like almost the UFC and NASCAR have like switched. I mean, the UFC was like almost on its way out 15 years ago, and then it just kind of like took off
because it was this kind of ragtag thing for a while. It was kind of cult status,
right?
Like
it was kind of weird. I mean, it was like dudes fighting in these like little tiny arenas, and it was like way back when there was like no rules, there was no athletic commissions, there was nothing really structured.
Literally, like fucking
was,
Fight Club.
It was a proving, it was a proving ground for the Gracies to prove that jiu-jitsu was the ultimate martial art. And it just evolved into something so much bigger than that. And now it's like, okay, it's not just about jiu-jitsu's the greatest thing ever. It's about what style is going to beat what style, and who is going to be able to adapt their style to the other person's strength and defeat them at that. It's a chess match, essentially. I mean, it's not like two dudes just going in there and whoever wins wins. There's strategy, there's game plans. It all comes down. It's all down to strategy, like I said. But it's funny because, like I said, it's like NASCAR and the UFC have just done this swap. You have these weigh-ins with these big names, and they're getting more attendees than probably go to most NASCAR races. I mean, when McGregor fought Eddie Alvarez,
I never even thought about that.
When McGregor fought Eddie Alvarez at Madison Square Garden, I don't know the exact figure off my head.
Jordan, can you fact check on that?
But I mean, the amount of people in the Garden at the weigh-in was incredible. I mean, it was more Eddie Alvarez, because it was at the Garden. The weigh-in.
How many people were there?
Yeah, how many people were at the weigh-in?
For those who don't know, Jordan, our audio engineer / co-producer / he's also the resident fact checker, I should say.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
He's the young Jamie equivalent.
Yes, young Jamie.
Yeah, young Jamie.
Jamie-san.
Yeah, from the Joe Rogan Experience.
Shout out to Joe. You do like DMT?
I've never done DMT.
No, I have not either. It's pretty wild, though.
I actually don't think I'd ever do a psychedelic because of the. I think with my anxiety that I've had my whole life, I don't think it would be a very good experience. But I don't know.
I'm not going to say if I have or have not, but it is not for the faint of heart. But I hear it's a life-changing experience.
Okay. I have heard that. I also saw some study on Facebook the other day that magic mushrooms or whatever, they're actually a reset to depressed brain.
In concentrated amounts, I've heard, like low dose.
Okay. That makes more sense.
They can give like an euphoric feeling.
Okay. That makes sense. So, yeah, but okay. So no number for the weigh-in.
Jordan's going to keep going at it, all right?
But I mean, if you wanted to really see it, type in UFC 205 weigh-ins, and you'll see how many people were at that weigh-in. I mean,
honestly,
incredible.
we might just put up a video.
It was incredible.
In a clip here later, so it was perfect.
Yeah, it was insane. I just remember watching the weigh-ins. I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of people there. So
kind of just tying all this together. I mean, just from how much it's exploded as a sport. I mean, you've seen it as, a very like passionate fan.
Yeah.
To me, what do you think is the difference between McGregor and some of these other fighters? Is it their style? Is it like their strategies? Is it their marketing? Is it their appeal?
When you say what's the difference, do you mean why is McGregor selling 2 million pay-per-views?
Correct.
And why is somebody like, I don't know, before Robert Whittaker, the former middleweight champ, why was he selling not even close to that?
Yeah.
Well, I think it comes down to the way McGregor can sell a fight. I mean, he's got this. Remember Joe Rogan saying, like, when he was just coming up, I remember right before UFC 178 when he fought Dustin Poirier, it was like he just has something in his personality that appeals to people. And I think he's just, for whatever reason, it's like he's intoxicating. The way he talks, the way he fights, his confidence, it's like, I think it just bleeds onto people.
It's a charisma. I really feel like that's like people who have very strong presence.
Right. And
carry that with them.
He has that. And it was like, from the moment he stepped into the UFC, and I mean, he knocked out Marcus Brimmage's very first fight in less than a minute and a half, I think. I mean, you knew he was going to be big. You knew it was going to be a big deal. And he's just grown. I mean, who would have thought some guy was, a double champ in Ireland and in the Cage Warriors, and then 3-4 years later, he's going to be fighting the undisputed, arguably the greatest boxer of all time. And yeah, he might have lost, but the guy went in there and did. I mean, he has this famous tweet: "Get in, get rich, get out."
I like that.
And I mean, it was like he went in, he made a name for himself. He was just whooping everybody.
He's like the 50 Cent of like the fighting world.
Right. He came in,
make a splash, and cash out.
He came in, he whooped everyone's ass with the exception of Nate Diaz one fight. And then he went and was like, fuck it, I'll try boxing. $100 million later, he was sitting on his ass until they called him for the Khabib fight.
Yeah. And then he's literally just making more bank with proper 12 than he is.
Right. I mean, it's
fighting.
It's incredible. I mean, the guy's a genius in terms of
cashing out.
Yes. And I know a lot of people hate him. A lot of people think he's an idiot. And yeah, he's done some stupid stuff, but we all have.
You're fucking right.
Fuck the Mayweathers.
Speaking of Conor McGregor, can you pass over the Papa 12? I'll have to knock myself off a little bit.
I can do that. There you are.
So, the real reason I had you on here today, we need to really talk about this.
Yeah.
What's up with the Cybertruck?
Wow.
That's what we really want to talk about.
I mean, that's one badass vehicle. Badass vehicle.
Honestly, like, the stuff that Tesla's done, I've been, cool, I love the Cybertruck.
Yeah, I mean, I think as awesome as it is, I think, like, I'll admit, I mean, I had to write when, the unveiling was the unveiling event. It was 11 o'clock at night here. It was 8 in LA. Mm-hmm. I remember I was like, I mean, so many people have speculated just for a long time about what this thing's going to look like. And how they kept it under wraps, I don't know. But they did. When this thing rolled out, I was like...
I thought it was a fucking meme at
I was
first,
like,
honestly.
What in the hell is that thing? But I mean, he had a really good point. All trucks look the same.
No, they do. Yeah, your Fords, your Dodges,
yes,
your Chevys.
Your Chevys, they all look the same. This thing looks nothing like any other truck.
I've never seen a truck other than RoboCop.
And it's incredible. And I'll admit, at first, I was like, what in the fuck did he just do? And I love the damn thing now. I mean, I just was texting my best friend earlier today. I said, hey, man, I think we should put some pre-orders in on that truck. I was like, dude, I think I'm holding off on the Model 3 in March. I think I'm just going to get myself a Cybertruck.
Can you imagine pulling up to like a Dodge Ram in your Cybertruck?
I'll be the first to say I'm not a pickup truck fan. I think
I'm not particularly either.
Yes, and I mean...
The great utility, though.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I just am not a fan of pickup trucks. I'm sure I'm going to piss a lot of people off here, but I don't like the way people who drive large trucks drive. I think they own the road. And that's understandable. You have a bigger car.
Yeah,
than
we're
most
talking
people.
about like Mason-Dixon, Pennsylvania driving.
Like when I'm pulling out of the gym
for those
on Main,
who are nationwide.
When I'm pulling out of the gym on Main Street at 7:30 in the morning and I get cold rolled by some dickhead. And I'm like, okay, sick dude, my hybrid. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, dude, you're awesome.
It's always the ones with the worst trucks too.
Yes.
That are doing it.
I mean, I had, this is actually pretty funny, but like probably like 5 months ago, I was leaving the gym and I like walk outside and I'm like, why the hell is my side mirror folded? I look and the thing just smashed. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I'm like looking under my windshield wiper to see if there's a note. Nothing.
That explains a lot.
I'm like, dude, this is fucking ridiculous. So I put it in that Southern York County, PA page, which is just probably the worst move I've ever made.
It's a Facebook page for those that don't know. I mean, you might have Facebook pages in your communities. This one has over 30,000 people, and people are very proactive in it. They talk about, is that a loud boom? Does anybody have anything for sale in their yard this weekend?
How are the roads?
How are the roads?
That's a big one when the winter comes.
Yeah, whenever an inch of snow is forecasted, how are the roads, everybody?
Yeah, but... I mean, I put that in there, and it was like, you know, people are ignorant. That somebody commented that, and God, people suck. And where was this? And then you got like this one girl's like, that's why I don't go to the gym. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that's why. and then there's like this, and then there's this. It was really, really funny because I was just like, okay, this is really interesting. This girl comments, and she says, this is why you fold your mirrors in with a crying, laughing emoji. And I'm like, okay.
Why do you think
then but then I look, and there's a like on the comment. And so I go ahead and click on that. And who is it but her boyfriend? Who they both went to high school together. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, huh, man, it's a real freaking mystery who hit my truck. Or who hit my escape. The escape, as I call it.
Mystery.
I mean, I wasn't pissed. I ordered a new piece of mirror glass off of Amazon for $20. It wasn't a big deal, but I think it's just common courtesy. I
mean, yeah, when I'm in Baltimore City, I always fold my mirrors if I can because I just don't trust anybody.
I have started doing that now.
Just because you never know. Yeah, when you go to Philly tonight, do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not driving.
Oh,
so I'm riding with young Allie Vogel. So, but
shout out to young Allie Vogel.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout outs.
So.
Back to Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah,
I fuck with it. Seems like a great product for them. It's edgy.
I'm a big
It's
fan
unique.
Of it. I think that this is just my personal opinion, but I think if you're going to order one of them, you're just not you're going to want to go for the dual motor. There's a single, a dual, and a tri motor. They each get more expensive, but the dual and the tri are all-wheel drive. I think in Pennsylvania it's important to have all-wheel drive. But I also think that it's just worth the money to have. If you're going to be spending $40,000 on a single motor rear wheel drive truck, I mean, why are you doing it? I think that it's just worth it to get the dual motor, the all-wheel drive. I think that's if I get it, that's what I'll order. I won't order the rear wheel, but that's just my personal opinion. If you want a rear wheel drive truck, go for it.
In terms of other pieces you've covered for the publication, what's been your favorite to date that you can talk about?
Man, I'm really big on the environment.
Okay.
And so when I get the chance to...
Maybe talk a little bit more about the platform in general.
Well, the platform as what we cover on the site?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a relatively small team, and we have, a couple Tesla writers, a couple SpaceX writers, and me and my editor, who is also on the Tesla side. We cover Boring Company as well, which is Elon's. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the flamethrower.
Is it a parent company or like a holding company?
Well, it's just called the Boring Company. I'm not really sure what the technicalities of it are.
Okay, no, interesting.
But the Boring Company isn't like, man, this is boring. It's like they are drilling holes in the middle of the earth so that way people can get
It's almost
around
like
traffic.
His company for everything else.
And a little fun fact for you there, he actually proposed one from DC to Baltimore, and it's been approved.
Oh, I didn't know it was approved. I heard about that.
It's been approved for a while, but yeah, it might be coming here soon. So actually they just broke ground on the Las Vegas one that connects.
Did not know that. Just dropping bombs here.
I just wrote an article on it probably like 3 weeks ago.
Slight plug.
And yeah, check us out, teslarati.com. But anyway, I just wrote an article on the fact that they broke ground on the convention center one in Las Vegas that connects it to the Strip, and I think eventually it'll connect it to McCarran Airport. I'm not completely sure on that. I've had kind of mixed signals about that one, but as far as that, we also have SpaceX writers and stuff like that, which is his other company that has kind of taken over NASA with the assistance with the International Space Station. But yeah, I mean, we cover a lot of stuff. We cover, obviously Tesla news, breaking news, stuff like that. But we also we kind of do op-ed stuff from time to time. We do a lot of stuff with what's been really popular is Tesla, people keying Teslas, which happens to a lot of luxury cars. But
yeah,
you don't want to key a Tesla. I don't know who has to hear this, but don't key a Tesla because that's Sentry mode and it has 9 cameras around it and it captures everything.
I'm saying if you see a Tesla and your ex-boyfriend drives one and you're upset with him, do not key it.
Yeah, you'll get caught. It's happened many times. So yesterday we just got a video of a dude literally putting his groceries down, turning on a cell phone flashlight, stabbing the tire 9 or 10 times, and he was in police custody later that night.
That's wild.
So don't fuck with Teslas.
Don't fuck with Tesla in general.
Do not do it.
Don't fuck with Elon.
Yes. Yeah, you don't fuck with Elon.
He's a very polarizing figure.
I love that guy. He is hysterical.
It's like a love-hate thing.
Yes. It's funny is my best friend Seth, he hated Elon Musk a year ago. And we were driving to the Hodel, actually. And
shout out to Hodel, local watering hole in Stork, downtown New Freedom, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, love the Hodel. But anyway, so we're driving to the Hodel, and he like for months was just like, oh, Elon sucks, Elon this, Elon that, and I'm like, how do you hate the guy? He's like, well, what's something cool he's done? I'm like, well, he put his Roadster, which is the original Roadster, was his car that he drove from his house to work. He put a fake astronaut in it and launched it into orbit around the sun. He beat NASA, China, Russia, all these major space programs into doing that. And he's like, well, what's the point of that? I'm like, the dude just launched a car around the sun, and you're not going to give him any sort of credit for that. Well, his cars blow up, well, this, well, that. And I showed him, like, Elon with the Joe Rogan experience and how funny he was with the flamethrower and stuff like that. And he's a big Elon guy now. I really just don't understand why people hate on the guy. I mean, the guy's literally trying to save the world. And he's trying to make cool ass cars, and he doesn't want anyone to pay for gas anymore. I don't understand why that's idiotic.
I'm saying just don't take the company from him. He might become Norman Osborn all of a sudden. I'm kidding.
You don't want to screw around with the Green Goblin, dog.
I saw a meme about him, like literally it was like Elon, and then referencing him as Norman Osborn. I'm like, that is actually fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I can see it happening. Don't piss the dude off. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I mean, he's one of my heroes, and just the ideas that he has for the Earth and just trying to advance civilization and make us multiplanetary is,
which I think is commendable in that regard.
It's unbelievable what the guy's done. I mean, the guy invented. I mean, he was one of the partners of PayPal when he was 12 years old. He was writing the code for a video game called Blastar, and he sold it to a software company for like $500 when he was in South Africa. And little known fact is, I always think about when we were younger, it was like, don't pick on the nerdy kids because you end up working for them. I mean, this guy got pushed down a flight of steps and curb stomped and had to have his nose reconstructed when he was in school in South Africa.
Really? Did not know that.
Nobody knows that. And now look at the guy. He's like arguably like the most recognized. He has arguably the most recognized name on planet Earth.
I would definitely attest to that. And he dates very alternative R&B singers.
Yes. Correct. Grimes.
Pop stars. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting.
Yeah. I think there's speculation that she was at the Cybertruck in Vail. There was kind of like it was like a video behind before he walked out, and apparently it was her. I'm not too familiar with what she looks like.
I mean, what a life. You grew up in South Africa. I believe his parents came from a little money, but still.
Yeah. Well, I'm not 1,000% sure about his parents. I know that he didn't have a great relationship with his dad, but his mother.
But say like he wasn't a trust fund baby by any means.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, he made his own bones.
Yeah, and I mean, he came to the United States, went to University of Pennsylvania, went to Stanford.
I mean,
for
you're
one
just
day.
a very smart guy.
Went to Stanford for one day. Dropped out to be a part of the .com bubble. Made PayPal. Rest is history. I mean, he took every single dollar and invested it into Tesla and SpaceX.
To me, awesome. That's what I think. He's polarizing. Some of the stuff, it's just like, okay, like, do we got to do that? But I think the most thing I respect him for is like shit like that.
Yeah.
He's gambling on himself and risking.
Yes, everything, and it's not even for himself. I mean, I think it's to make the Earth better.
At this point,
yeah. I mean,
how much money? It's like, how much money can you make? It's
yes.
like, okay, like you're worth $40 billion.
Right.
What is another $40 billion? Is it going to change your life?
No.
You have another $40 billion.
He's pretty much set. You know what I mean?
So what fulfills you at the end of the day?
Right.
I mean,
he's an awesome dude. And like I said, I really just don't understand why people are just kind of like, he's this way or that way. And
well, he's a great brand, regardless if you like him or hate him, just because, I mean, he's more than just a mogul. He's the face of Tesla. He's the face of SpaceX.
Absolutely.
I mean, not all tech companies are like that. It's usually the opposite because you have a lot of introverts running those companies.
Yeah.
Like Google, I mean, very introverted.
Right.
The hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Bill Gates was an introvert.
Yeah.
Or is, I should say. Not was. He's still here with us.
Also a big Bill Gates guy.
I
also love Mark Zuckerberg. I was watching his Congress testimony.
Even if he's a reptile, I'm kidding.
Reptilian humanoid. I was watching his stuff with Congress the other day when, I mean, there was like these, no disrespect, but I mean, there was like these 65, 7-year-old Congress people, senators, stuff like that, talking to him. They're like,
they drink children's blood.
And they're like, how do you make money if you don't charge people for your service? And he's like, Senator, we run ads. And it's just like, it's unbelievable what they're allowed to ask a dude who's a genius and invented the.
That's why we need term limits, folks. Yes. Not going to get too political, but
yeah, I don't want to get into that.
But we can go down a fun rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeff Epstein did not kill himself. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I won't comment.
I mean, with working for this, I mean, you're working side by side with like a big company. This like media company is affiliated with Tesla.
Right. Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is. I mean, it was a long, long road to find a job that I really loved. Mm-hmm. Worked a lot of jobs I hated.
What did you learn through that process? I mean, kind of go through it. What
a
do
lot
you like?
Of things. I mean, I learned that I was never going to settle in my life.
Okay.
I learned that I was going to live my life on my terms. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. I think it's important not to settle and not to do things just because people say you should do them. I learned that, I'm big on the fact that you get one life, and I know people say live your dash. That's very cliche and very corny to me. I don't mean to disrespect anybody, but
eat, pray, love.
But I think that it has a lot of meaning because when you die, there's nothing left. I mean, depending on what you believe.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be in a physical body here. So I think it's important to do all the things that you can. And I think it's important to be very happy with yourself and with what you're doing. And the day I stop having fun with this job, I'll leave it. But I don't see that happening because I found a company that believes in me, gave me a shot, and decided to, like I said, they gambled on me. I didn't really have a writing background. I loved to write. I loved to do a lot of things, but I had a knack for writing. I mean, ever since high school. So, my boss, Gene, he took a shot on me, and I really think that we're both super happy with how things have turned out. I think, without getting, into too much detail, things have gone really well.
Good.
And I think, like I said, I think it's super important to find what your passions are and follow them. I had a really big passion for Tesla, and that led to a passion in the environment, and it led to this job, and I'm super thankful. And it's amazing. I get to wake up every day and write about stuff that I love, and I couldn't be happier.
I couldn't think of anything more fulfilling when you have those passions and you're actually actualizing them.
Yes, and I think there's a lot of people out there, they work these jobs that they hate because it's a paycheck, and I don't think that's any way to live your life.
No, it makes my skin crawl to think about that.
Yeah,
it's one thing where, I mean, I'm in the service industry and like I'm working off either retainers, hourly, or product commissions. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm not guaranteed shit.
No, and but I think that you kind of took a shot too. I mean,
yeah,
you could have went and gotten a job at a marketing agency or something. You're like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna do my own thing, and you know what I mean? I think that's really important, and I commend you for that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. When I first got bought out of my startup, I interviewed with a few agencies.
Yeah,
I flunked in the interviews because I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm good with people.
I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, and it seems like Susquehanna just breeds entrepreneurs. Breeds them. I mean, I'm thinking of you, my boy LTR, Luke.
Shout out to Luke Realtor.
I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head, obviously. But I just feel like Susquehanna breeds entrepreneurs.
Which is interesting, the thing about that, but you're kind of right.
Yeah. I mean,
so the local watering hole in Glen Rock, Pennsylvania.
Yes. I think that the hodl might have something to... No, I was kidding. But seriously, I mean, you guys are you guys are your own bosses to an extent. I know that Luke works for a realtor, Saks Realty, but I mean, you got to think about this. I mean, he's basically doing I think a lot of realty is, I don't have any experience with it, but it's a lot of self-marketing, self-building.
Oh, 1,000%.
People don't know you. You're not going to sell houses.
Fuck no.
And he does a fantastic job at that.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
He's been the top realtor in his brokerage. It's a smaller brokerage.
Right.
But like you have people 20, 30 years in his brokerage.
Yes.
He's like 3 months in a row. Like leading up to this podcast, he's like number one.
And he's just killing it.
And he's running circles around that.
Right. But and that's not to say that if you work for somebody else, it's a bad thing.
No, it's not at all.
Because I think it's just important to work for someone who believes in you and to do something that you're passionate about. Another example, one of my best friends, Jake Stauffer. He's an airplane mechanic, and he loves his job. Loves it, and he's great at it.
And some people don't want to be the boss, and that's fine. They're not comfortable
and I think
being entrepreneurial.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for Jake, but I think that, he's like, man, I know he grew up around cars, and I mean, he's helped me with my car and my friend's cars, and he's got a knack for it, and he's good at it, and he enjoys it. So I think that's important too. Like I said, you don't have to work for yourself. If you want to work for somebody else, I think some people, like you said, they just don't want to be the boss. Maybe it's a little bit too much responsibility.
Which is fine. And they're happy. They're content.
Right.
Like I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Jason. He's opened up his second pizza shop in the Gettysburg area.
Yep.
And it was the first week I went to visit him.
Right.
Bought him some stogies.
Yeah.
He had a stogie outside in the back.
Schiffbauer move.
Oh, yes.
Power move.
Power move.
Yeah.
I do my best.
Yeah.
Stall me one, I'll flex on you forever.
Right.
It's like, but I was talking to Jason. He's like, we're just catching up, talking about business.
Yeah.
And he's like, this janitor passed, and he's like gleaming ear to ear. And he's like, I've been here like a week in and out, and he's like, this guy is smiling all the time. Like he loves his job.
Yeah.
It's just like, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're comfortable, fulfilled in whatever capacity it is. Mm-hmm. If you're mopping floors or a CEO.
I think one thing that got me through a lot of tough times when I was in college, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with myself. I had a lot of anxiety problems growing up, a lot of depression issues, had a lot of trouble leaving home for school.
Were you clinically diagnosed at one point?
I mean, out
of curiosity, I've been comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to be open because I think we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I think it's important to do what you're comfortable with when you're talking about your mental health. And I've always been really comfortable being open about it because, one, I like the people that are close to me, and even the people that aren't close to me. Well, I like the people that are close to me to know what I'm going through at that time. But I also like the people that aren't close to me, just the people in my circle, I guess. Or, the 500 plus Facebook friends. I'm sure many of them are dealing with mental health issues.
A lot of people do.
Right.
Regardless if it's, clinical, I mean, or not. I mean, we all go through ebbs and flows. Doesn't mean we have necessary diagnosable. Yes. It's just like you have, you're happy, you're sad.
But I think that people find comfort in knowing
They're not alone.
They're not alone. Correct. For example, a couple months ago in October, I put a Facebook status up. It was a year anniversary of me going to the hospital. I checked myself into an inpatient facility. And it was really big for me because a year from that date before, I was at absolute rock bottom. And I thought it was it. I was ready to give up. A year later, I was working for this great company that believed in me, writing about something that I loved. And it was like I was on top of the world. It was incredible how a year changed my life.
It's insane how shifts in this mindset in time.
Yeah.
In this like occurrences can really change your perspective.
Right. And, I went to therapists and psychiatrists and I was on medicine for how many years. And I just recently got off my medicine because I don't want to knock, what people do as far as professions, as far as psychiatrists or family doctors even that prescribe people, anxiety, depression, whatever, medicine. But for 5 years, I took those pills and they made me feel better, but nothing changed. When something would come up, my anxiety would always take over. For example, when I was in college and, I tried to go to state college the first time, I told my mom, I don't want to go. And it was like one of the worst things ever because everybody in my high school knew me as like the kid that just loved Penn State so much.
Yeah.
And then when that time came, I wasn't ready emotionally. And I don't know really what did it. I have an idea, nothing I want to get into.
No, it's fine.
But I think that a lot of it was I just wasn't ready. But I also think that nobody's really ready to leave their house the first time. But I just couldn't get myself past that point to push myself to leave for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Right. And, that's when I first got on medicine. That was 2014. 2 years later, I was still in the medicine. I went to fly out to Arizona to see my best friend Dalton. Shout out. He was living in Arizona. He had just graduated from college in aeronautics. He's a pilot now. He was moving to Daytona to train people, for their instrument license, stuff like that, get his hours. And, I flew from Harrisburg to Philadelphia fine. And when I got on that plane to go from Philadelphia to Phoenix, I got on that plane and they said, well, we have to change a tire. We have to change the landing gear. And I was never scared of flying. I'm not scared of planes. I love to fly.
Yeah.
But I knew I wasn't getting back on that plane because I knew my anxiety was going to take over.
You think something else triggered it? Or was it the actual plane?
No, it wasn't the plane.
Okay.
It was the fact that the night before, I couldn't sleep. I was waking up every half hour sweating my ass off because I was so scared. I was scared shitless to travel on my own. I just wasn't ready. And that's fine. And I believe everything happens for a reason. Yeah. But at the same time, looking back, I don't have any regrets. I'll never say, oh, I wish I would have went because I'll probably go to Arizona at some point. You know what I mean? Or
you will,
Oh yeah, for sure. But I learned a lot from that whole thing. And, I was upset with myself to an extent, but how upset can you get? You know what I mean? But I'll tell you the biggest thing that has happened in these last couple months that's really helped me, one, get off my medicine, and two, just gain, a really broad sense of appreciation and gratitude is the fact that my entire mindset changed. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people wake up on Monday and they say, oh, fuck, it's Monday.
I can't stand that.
You don't like Mondays because you're taught not to like Mondays. Because it's the beginning of a new week. Why wouldn't you take that mindset and shift it from shit, it's Monday to fuck yeah, it's Monday. And it's a brand new week and I have new goals and I'm going to wake up and this is going to be the best fucking week of my life. Why wouldn't you do that?
Or break down further. It's just like, okay, I'm taught not to like Mondays. Why do I personally not like Mondays?
Yeah.
Is it because I'm just not happy with myself?
Yes.
And I got to go do this on a Monday?
Am I not happy with what I'm doing?
Correct.
Why would you not want to wake up and make that week the best week of your life? If your job requires you to wake up on Monday and that's the beginning of
your start of your week.
Yes. I'll never understand it. I like I said, I think people are taught not to like Mondays. And there's another thing. It's like Wednesday this one week. I'm scrolling on Instagram in the middle of the day. It's like Complex put something up and it's like something about, oh man, it's only Wednesday. I'm like, what do you mean it's only Wednesday? It's fucking Wednesday.
It's kind of fucking toxic when companies who have that much leverage and influence do that.
They have
that bothers the shit out of me.
This huge following and they're drilling it. I mean, not drilling it, But they're telling people that it's Wednesday, and fuck, it's only Wednesday.
And sorry for me mumbling there for anyone listening in. I have a horrible habit of chewing on ice. So it sounds like blah, 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 blah. But yeah. Not to interject, but.
No, but I mean, it all comes down to mindset. And if you go into something with a negative attitude, it's going to suck. I hate when people are negative about things because there's just no chance of them happening if you're negative. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. I don't know if you know what that is.
I'm aware.
It's just the belief that if you believe something enough in your heart of hearts, it'll come true.
I'm a standpoint with it where you have belief and then the actualization of the belief.
Yes.
So if I believe this, I'm going to get that job at Tesla.
I know that, and I know.
And I'm going to put the work into like make them, or Tesla, right, I should say. They're going to, they're really going to go through my resume, go through my samples. I prepared. Right. I believed it. I've done the actualization, the work, and they hired me.
Yeah. And, it could be something as arbitrary as pulling into Walmart or Giant and saying, man, I'm going to get that very first parking spot. I'm going to have the very front row. Maybe it might happen. It might happen. It might not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you believe it enough, and it happens, that's the best feeling in the world. And it's something that arbitrary like a parking spot, and it's something as big as your next career. Or that raise, or the new contract, or whatever. If you believe that it's going to happen, it might happen. But if you're sitting there like, oh, I'm not going to get the front row parking spot. Why would I get the front row parking spot? It's 3:00 on a Saturday.
No, you're never going to look for it.
Well, yeah, it's like
you got to look for it to at least attempt to get it.
It's
put the work in.
It's just like you're never going to get something if you don't have the mindset that you could get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just like, I can't get it, it's not going to happen. This is going to happen instead. It's never going to happen. It's just that to me, that's the way the universe works. And it's all down to mindset. And I think that's super important. And it's a big reason that I've come out of this deep hole I was in.
It's interesting. Like, we've known each other for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We're not super close. But like,
yeah.
But with that being said, I remember when you put that post out on Facebook, I did not know.
Yeah. I kept it very close, in my close circle. I mean, like Amanda.
That's why I gave you a lot of kudos.
Yeah.
Seriously, for that.
I appreciate that.
To be comfortable with it. Because I'm about to say, it's just like, to my outside looking in, you were just a happy-go-lucky, fun guy. And that was my impression of you.
Right. And
up to that point.
It's funny that you say that because right before we went on, we were talking about Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
How he was this great comedian, and he was in these just fantastic roles. But then there's like, he was super damaged. And I think the same thing with Anthony Bourdain, one of my favorite chefs. This guy was traveling the world eating some of the
fucked up, unfortunately.
Some of the greatest food on this earth that's ever been made, and he got to travel around the world, and he got paid to do that. That is just incredible.
Sounds perfect.
But this guy was struggling, and he was in a dark place.
For whatever reasons. You know?
I mean, we don't know.
No, yeah.
But it's not really fair to judge and speculate on why he did what he did. But he did that, and we can't change it. But to me, it's like, I always worry about the people in the room that are the most outgoing and always trying to please others, because
why are they doing it? Why are they constantly doing it?
And for me, it was always, I never wanted the people that were close to me to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do anything in my power to make sure that they weren't hurting the way I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know why I always hurt so bad. I think it was because I looked into a lot of things much deeper than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always looking for the why factor. Why is this happening? What is going on? Like, what is the purpose of what we're doing right now?
Yeah.
I think that, for a while when I was like really confused about where my life was going, mm-hmm. what I was going to do after college, what I was going to do for a career, I think I really beat myself up, and I was a little too hard on myself. And I've come to realize that, we all make mistakes, and we, you know what I mean? It's part of living. You improve as a person after you do.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way I frame it up at this point, the worst thing that happened is I can die.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable. So it's like, as long as I'm not going to harm or cause negative damage to anyone.
Right.
I want to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, I think it's really important to enjoy what you do. And I mean, I think it's just important to live a life that you're really proud of when it's your time to go. You're happy and you don't have any regrets. So get
it tattooed on you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, I just felt for me that the best way for me to handle it, and I've always wanted to help other people who have had that issue. I felt that, and I'm not saying that you should just go out and be like, I'm dealing with this and I'm going to put it on Facebook. For me, I wanted to put it out there.
That was a conscious decision after you went through that journey.
Yes. And I wanted to put myself out there so I would get the reaction of people to know that they could talk to me if they needed to. And I got text messages and
it wasn't like
direct messages.
Yeah, give me attention. No,
it was never about that.
And the way you worded it was very appropriate, very mature.
Yeah. Thank you.
And very insightful.
But I wanted to be there for people, even if they were perfect strangers. I think that sometimes those are the best people to talk to about things because they give you the most unbiased, neutral feedback.
It's candid.
Yes. And, I had people text me and direct message me and tell me what was going on. What would you do here? What would you do there? That's a really good feeling knowing that these random people that you haven't talked to since high school or people that you've never talked to at all.
I'll say, not to say names, but were you surprised by some of the people who reached out to you?
Yeah, to an extent. I know, there was a couple people that I was kind of like, you could tell that they're kind of dealing with things and they were kind of like, hey man, like I really appreciate what you said, stuff like that. But then there's people that kind of were out of the blue and they were just like, hey, like I know we don't talk, this kind of thing. And I mean, it was eye opening because I know people deal with stuff and I think it's now it's a lot less. It
varies.
Yeah. But I think now it's a lot less taboo than it was. I think it's a little more reasonable to be going through things now because I think it's like not as big of a deal, but at the same time,
I'll quote a line with Sopranos. Tony, the first episode, he's like, "You got to be the Gary Cooper silent type." That's what my mama told me. But you don't necessarily have to be that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like he even realized that.
Yes,
I mean, it's one thing. I think if you need to get something off your, it's one thing if you're comfortable being private and dealing with what you're going through. Yes. But if you're uncomfortable and unsettled, seek help.
Yes.
And whatever capacity that's the most healthy for you.
Yeah. And I think that I think that if you're comfortable with going out there and telling people what's been going on in your life, then I think you should do that. But if you're not comfortable with it, then don't.
No.
But I think it's important to seek help and to try to better what's going on because you can't just sit around and be like, oh, I'm depressed and it's never going to get better. Oh, I'm sad. It's like, I'm never going to be happy. I think it's ridiculous to have that mindset. And I think for the longest time, I was always like, man, I'm upset. And not that I had a bad mindset about it, but I don't think I was being positive enough and ever thinking that I would get out of the hole. I think I always thought that I would be dealing with this my entire life.
Yeah. Wow.
And until a couple months ago, I finally kind of gave myself a little kick in the ass. And I was kind of like, I'm sick of being this way. I'm sick of being upset and down on myself. And I'm sick of struggling. So I'm going to get myself out of this. And I think a big part of it is exercise. Big believer in that.
No, I'm serious. It changes you.
Yes.
Seriously.
Exercise, nutrition.
You just don't feel like shit.
No. I mean,
and that's a big step mentally too.
You feel better when you're exercising. You feel better when you eat well. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a licensed psychiatrist.
Yeah, I mean, we're not licensed at all.
No.
Take what you're hearing from a grain of salt, but more importantly, out there, do whatever you feel like is the most healthy, and that's not going to harm you or anyone else.
Right. And for
Leave
me,
it at that.
me, I'm just trying to share my experiences, and that's why I'm on here talking about that, and that's why I put that Facebook post up. I just felt that it was important for me to kind of share my experience and what I did to get out of the hole. So yeah, I mean that was important to me, but I'm happy that people reached out.
No, and I think it's great having you on just because you're a really passionate guy. Mm-hmm. You have awesome passions, UFC, football, the whole 9 yards.
Big poker player too.
Big poker.
Love me some poker.
Little shark.
Oh yeah.
And then with that too, it's just like you fell into a career that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's the thing, it's just behind closed doors, not everything's always smoke and road. It's rosy. There's a battle to get there.
Right.
And things are still not perfect.
Right. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, I think the beginning of the downswing was when my parents split up. I just never thought my parents would split up. That was 10 years ago. I think that I was a freshman in high school.
Subconsciously though.
Yeah, but I think that was kind of the downswing. Like I said, that was the beginning of everything. And I think I just struggled a lot after that. But, I think that, like I said, I think it's a lot of mindset. I think you just have to want to get better. And I don't think I necessarily wanted to get better for a long time. So, like I said, I mean, find your passions and chase the hell out of them, and don't rest till you get them, because that's what I did, and I'm fucking happy as hell now.
That's a great fucking note to end on. I can't really say anything else.
Yeah.
Normally I wrap it up, but we're going to wrap it up there.
That's
ladies
awesome.
and gentlemen.
All right.
Schiffbauer over Rocks. We back early 2020. I'm going to close some deals. Joey's going to keep killing it.
That's right.
We're going to drink a lot of Proper 12 in the meantime. Take it easy.
Thank you.